Well, good evening, folks. I'm in the new warehouse, and I'm going to show you how I make this wonderful Halloween display using a jar. If you can see this, from the Dollar Tree. I couldn't find them anywhere else. I tried to see if we could use some of the antique ball jars that I have, but I decided to go ahead and use this because I like the square panels of this jar. This is the lid here, and I already spray painted it black. It comes silver, and I spray painted it black, and I put a hole in it, and it was very easy to do. I just took a screw bit on the drill, and I drilled a little tiny hole, and then I just took my scissors, and I don't know if you can see this, but I took the scissors and I just kind of turned it around to make it a little bit bigger. And you'll see the reason why I did this a little later on in the video. So I have these are some of my antique postcards here, and what I did is I shrank them down. I photocopied them, on my computer, and then I shrunk them down so they would sort of fit on this jar. So that's where I got these from, and I can, if you guys decide you want to do these, I can sell these to you guys. You just have to message me and let me know if it's something that you'd want to try to do. So what you're going to do is I cut it already. I cut it down so that it would fit on the jar. And then I use the Mod Podge. That's what I like the best. Sometimes you could use Elmer's glue. I used to do that way back when, but now I really love this stuff here. So what you do is, I'm going to show you here, you just kind of put a little bit in the center. I usually do like a little bit like this, not too much to start. And then I try to use a wider brush to kind of smooth it out. And you want to do the whole entire area. Sometimes if you get too much on, then all you do is just take your brush and wipe it off on your jar. You won't waste any of it. And then you just want to cover the whole area with the Mod Podge. And then once you do that, get all the excess off, because you don't want to have any bubbles, you don't want to have any bumps. I want mine smooth. I want it to adhere to the jar and then pick up all the indentations that are in this jar, because I think it adds a lot of character to it. So once you have that, then you just set this down, brush down. And then I have to do it this way. I'm really sorry. I don't know if you can see it or not. But then you place this in the center of the panel, and you kind of want to make sure that you get it down. And the trick to this Mod Podge, so you all know, you have to put enough on so that your print can move. I don't know if you can see this, but see how it's sliding right now? That means that you can adjust your print to fit whatever area you're trying to cover. If you don't put enough on and you try to move it, it rips and tears, especially because this is thin paper. It's not cardstock. The reason being is I want to put lights inside of this to light these panels up. So now once you have that done, once you have it on where you want to place it, then you go ahead and you do the center first. You get all of the center done. I'm just using my finger. Don't worry about the edges right now, just do all of the center. And you see how it's starting to pick up the indentation in the jar, in the pattern in the jar. That's what you want. So you just keep on doing it very carefully, because this will rip if you force it and you do it too fast. So you just go ahead and you just keep on doing that all the way down. Okay. And then once you get that down, then you can take your corners and your ends. I usually try to do the middle first. See, like this, just pushing it down. And then you want to get your corners down. And you have to be really careful, because see, it's getting on my fingers, and you don't want that to dry, because then it will rip the paper. But this is a little bit trickier than doing like a board or the signs that we normally do, because this is a lot smaller, and it is glass, and it's rounded edges, so it's a little bit harder to do this. But just go ahead and keep pushing it down. And then if the stuff on your fingers start drying, like I know this fan is really loud, and I'm sorry, but it's really warm in this building, and I don't have air. So, but you just want to go ahead and push all of that down like that. Okay. And then you come up to the top and you do the same thing again and just push this down to get it to stay. See, the fan is drying it out to you a little bit too. And then you can just clean your hands off a little bit. I usually just rub them quickly to get that stuff that's starting to dry off, because you don't want to rip this print and you want to make sure this is going to stay. And if you don't have enough, like it's starting to dry out, then you can always add some more to it. So like right now I'm going to have to add more to it because it's already drying out. So just simply take what you put on top of your jar that you had as excess before and just simply wipe it on the part so that it will stick better. It's going to dry clear, and we're going to coat this later on anyways, because I've noticed on a lot of the websites and the how-to videos, people are using this, but they are not coating it after. And I'm going to tell you, with the humidity in Florida and the humidity that we have in the summer times in places, stuff is going to stick to that, lint's going to stick to it, it's not going to stay right, it gets very sticky. You have to coat it. That's the secret to it. You have to coat it. Now, the jar tells you directions like putting 5 or 6 coats on and then sanding it down to get it this smooth finish. That's all fine, but it's still glue. And glue, once it gets moisture to it, is going to run. It just isn't good. Okay, so see, you've got this almost down. You see there? So I'm not going to play around too much with it because I'll start to rip the paper, and I don't want to do that. So, and even if it does rip, like this little corner is seeming to want to kind of tear a little bit, but I'm going to leave it alone because I'm messing around too much. But see, look at that. Isn't that cool? See, I already did this panel earlier just so you could get the idea of what it would look like. Okay, so, and this is going to take a long time to do this whole thing, so I'm not going to do that. But I did want to show you the next step we're going to do. I have these really cool lights, and I'll talk about these later. These have a timer. These are the pumpkin strand. I think there's 20 or 30 pumpkins on the thing. I'm not going to use these for inside the jar, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're trying to do. You see, it's going to light up all these panels inside, but I'm not going to do that. I just plug these in to kind of show you what I might want to do later on with them. But the ones that we would put in here, now these are a different color than what I use in my thing. These are yellow, which I really like. I think it's cool because see, look at how it makes this glow inside already. Isn't that pretty? See, I have so much lighting in here. I needed to have it off, but I don't have a crew at 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, so. I'll just unwind this a little bit just to kind of show you what my idea is that you can do. I should have had this ready, and I'm sorry I didn't. Okay, so having this unwound, and then you can go ahead and turn it back on. So what you're going to do, the reason I did the hole in here first is because you want to make sure that these lights, being long like they are, you want to make sure they're going to be able to fit inside of this. But we're actually going to do it this way because your battery pack has to go inside the jar. See, it's going to go inside the jar. And then you'll fill this all up. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you'll fill all this up inside with a lot of the lights. And then the rest of it you're going to use for the embellishment that we're going to put on top of the jar. So once you get all that in, then you'll pull the rest of these through, and you have to do it very carefully because you'll rip these strings. They're very, very thin. But you see, I'm just pushing it through the little hole and doing it very, very carefully so that you don't rip them. This hole in the other backside is a little sharp. I usually take a hammer and hammer it down, or you can use a pair of pliers or even a butter knife to kind of bend that down so that you don't cut yourself if you're in a hurry like I am trying to get everything done. But anyways, you see, I'm just kind of putting them all the way through. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to close this jar. So we're just going to go ahead and do this quickly to show you what, I'm going to show you the finished piece over here in just a minute so you get an idea. But anyways, you're going to put all those inside, and then you can go ahead and screw this down to the top. And then you have, I mean, this is not enough really to do what I want to do, but I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so then I cut what I use for my, you'll laugh, but I eat a lot of yogurt during the day with berries in it. And so this is a yogurt lid, and I just use the lid to trace to get this circle. And then I put a hole on the top, and then I'm not going to do it now, but you take your hot glue gun, which I have here, and you'll just glue on the top of this, and then you'll glue this down. So you'll do all this ahead of time before you put the lights. I'm just trying to jump to this. And then this is the crepe paper that my friend sewed for me. You know, she made this really nice double thing. If you don't have that capability of getting that and you can't sew, you can just use the crepe paper and just put this on by gathering it yourself using the glue gun, and you can double layer it. The difference is, if you notice, this is wider here. This is how wide it comes. The black is how wide it comes. Let me see if I can show you. Fan that one. That's how wide it comes when you buy it at the store. But the orange, you have to trim it down just a teeny bit so that the black will show, if you want to do a double layer. If you don't, then it's okay. So you're going to go ahead and glue that. And I'm going to see if I can just show you for a minute how I do it. But the fan blowing's a little bit hard. And I hope you can see this. I hope I have the camera angled right. But you're just going to put a little bit of glue. Now remember, this glue gun is very, very hot. It's the hot glue that I'm using. So you're just going to put it along the edge. And then carefully take this and just kind of, you want to make sure that it's even. And you just kind of take it and pat it down. And if you notice, I'm sort of turning the cardboard because I want to keep that round shape. You see, so that's all I'm doing, and it's very easy. And then you'll go all the way around with it. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you'll see that it's starting to make that circle. You see there? Okay, so then what you do is, depending on what you want to use on the top. Now, this is a Bethany Lau pumpkin. I don't know how much they are. I bought them really for my own projects to do my shows with. If you guys are interested, I can try to order these because my pumpkins are all too big to do on this small size jar. They're just too big. So this one, what we would do, I didn't punch a hole in this one because I'm not going to do that today because I'm not sure which one I want to use. But you'd have to punch a hole in this again to match up the hole here to fit on this, because this is what we're going to put our lights in. And then you would glue this down in the center. You see here, let me show you. So you glue this in the center, sort of like what I do with my bigger pumpkins, you see. So you glue that down in the center. And then when you're done with all of that, let me see if I didn't get this out, and I should have. This is called festooning. I have it here in this bag. I should have had it out. Sorry about that. But this is festooning, and I also sell this too, so you guys can message me if you're interested in it. But this is festooning. And it actually comes from Beisel, the people that I do my printing from. And so to finish this off, see, after you get this all down and around, then when you glued your pumpkin down, then you take this and you glue it down around the base. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see that, but see, that will hide the rest of the cardboard. And then what I normally do, and I did not do it on this one, but on the back side of the cardboard, because you want to take it off, and if you're going to put it on a shelf or high up, you want to spray it black. So I sprayed one side black, and that would be the underside. So that would go on top of your lid like this. So see, if it was on a shelf, then it looks finished, you see, with the black. Look at how pretty that is with the lights inside the jar. Anyway, so the black side would go against the lid, and then you would do all of your embellishments on the top of the lid. Like that. This is a little large. I thought it would be a little smaller. Okay, so once we do all of this stuff, then I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the one that is done, just to show you. I was pretty excited about it. I've been wanting to do this a long time. I've had these jars for a long time. I did go back to the Dollar Tree. They do still carry them. They have other variations of them too. So let me just show you here real quick while that one's drying. I like the yellow lights. I did not use yellow lights in the first one because I didn't have them. But here is a finished one, and let me go ahead and show you. Once you unscrew it, you see the lights, see here, the black underneath, the jar lid is glued to the cardboard piece, the edging is all the way around, and then my battery pack is inside. Now I didn't have those really nice lights I just got in, so I only had the ones I used for my Easter, but which is just fine. And then you drop that in, you put your lights in the container, and then you just screw this on, you see, all the way around. And then you got all your panels, which is pretty cool, you see. And then what I did, I used a Christmas tree. This was a regular green tree. I sprayed it black, and then I glittered it with black glitter, you see. And then I used that for the top of my creation. And then that's where this would come into play, if you decide you wanted to do it. I thought it might be kind of fun, you know, to have these on, but there's just so many lights, you see, that's the only thing. I didn't like it because there was so many lights. You know, I would want a string that has like 5 or 6, and I don't think they make that. And I don't know if you can cut these off and if they would work. I'm afraid to try it. But see, so that would be, if you could, these little pumpkin lights are really cute, really sweet. Anyway, so this is what it looks like with the lights on. So now I'm going to show you how I finished off the sides of the jar without the lights, because it's hard to see that. So we're going to just take this off for just a minute and set this over here. So on the jar, if you notice, all the panels, when I finished each panel, which it's all of these, you see it's all of these here, what I did is I took Elmer's glue and went down the edges all the way around where the prints were meeting. See, like this jar here. See, you see how this one has a little bit of a space right there? I want to finish that. I didn't like that. That doesn't look professional to me. So by taking Elmer's glue, I just did a bead of glitter, glue all the way down, and then I sprinkled glitter on it. You can do black, you can do orange. I chose orange because I have this wired tinsel here, which I also sell that too. So you guys can let me know if you need any of this, or if you have it, that's fine. Or you can just glitter the whole thing, but I use the tinsel around the bottom, and I hot glued the tinsel around the top. It does hide a little bit of the print, you know, like it does hide a little bit of it, but it finishes it off to me. See, this is really pretty now, I think. It looks very professional. It's not like a craft project. It is something that you'd see in a store, I think. But I wanted to share it with you. And then if you look inside, you'll see where the seams are. See in there how they didn't meet all the way? But that finishes it off. So this would be something that I would sell in my store or take to a show. But I thought I would just show you a little bit how to do something that would come out really nice. Again, if you wanted to use this type of pumpkin on top, this gives it a different type of look. You know, this is more old world, and that's why I chose that one, because of the prints that I used. So if you were going to use a pumpkin that's more from the 50s, then you would use like trick-or-treat bags from the 50s. I've used a lot of that decorating before. You know, you can do signs, like someone gave me this yesterday, and it's really nice, all these different things. So this would go fun with that, be fun with all of that. More, you know, more 50s or retro, I guess you want to say. This is more vintage. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this type of project. I hope you can go ahead and try to do it. I think it's really fun and a nice thing to enhance your room. I like the way all the panels have lit up. You see, that's really pretty to me. And if you imagine if these fluorescent lights weren't on, how pretty this would look. So I wanted to thank you all for watching, and please share the video. This is Christopher James from Christopher's Creative Designs in Perry, Florida. Thanks for watching.